Hi, everyone. Some of you were on my live yesterday, or maybe have watched my live yesterday, and know I got really frustrated with the process I was using for creating the Garrison Cap. It wasn't going together the way I needed it to, or I wanted it to get the look I wanted. So I am going to be working on that again today and see how I can get it to go together. I redid my pattern. I just put this on here to hold it in one place so I didn't lose any of the pieces and parts. That is actually an extra part that I don't need. And that is an extra pattern I won't be using right now. An extra copy of it just in case. But I have the top of it, the part that wraps around, and the two sides. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to cut it out in fabric. And I'm going to match these center lines up. And I'm going to stitch it center out, and only go to the end of these markings for stitch lines. And I'm going to do one side, then I'm going to do the other. I'm going to keep the hat separate. Then I'm going to sew the back seam. And I'll sew the back seam. I'll cut this out 2 pieces, and I will stitch it together at the top, just like I did, like I would normally. And I will stitch them together, the 2 pieces, and I will first I will stitch 2 pieces on the center back line. Then I'll stitch 2 more on the center back line, join those at this top as though I was doing it with the piping in it. And then I'll look at how I'm going to join this. I think I'm going to start in the back and work forward. But I will figure this part out. And that's why I'm here. I did pull out some fabric. I chose to use a black fabric because I can use my markers on it and not have to use pins and everything. It is a large piece, so I'm trying to get it where I can get just to the ends of it and pull out just the pieces, just pull out what I need. Hi, Sandra. I hope you're doing well today. I hope you're better today than I was yesterday, because I was a mess yesterday. Trying to get this technique to work, and it just would not work for me yesterday. So I'll work on it this way. I'm just going to throw some clips on the edge of this fabric to stop it from moving around on me, because I am working with fabric, unpinned fabric. And this is what I do sometimes when I have a pattern that's just, I can't see it going together, or I can't get it to go together. Either way, either I have a pattern with 0 instructions, similar to this one. This one has like 1% of the instructions that it should have. So when you don't have proper instructions and you need to work out how does it really work, and that's what I'm going to figure out. I don't need 2 of these, so I will wait and cut this last. I do need 2 of these. All the non-standard things I use when I'm leather crafting. I have plastic spoons in here. And what I'm going to do, well, I was going to do is use my weights, but they're not sitting where they normally would. I normally have them sitting right here, and I do not, so I will use what I have. I'm going to have to cut this out a little bit better before I do that. This has to be cut out all the way to the actual pattern edge. Oh, yeah, I hate those things. And especially when they use them on washcloths and towels and they don't put them in the labels. They don't put them through the labels. They put them through the actual material itself, because with the fluffiness of that, those little pieces get stuck in there and they can be hell to pull out of there. I actually got a pair of pajama pants and thought I got it out. And I was walking around the house and it was like something scratching my leg. And I checked and I had one more little piece stuck in my pants, scratching my leg. And I hate they don't take better precautions for things that would be used on small children. You know, put them in a plastic bag and then put cardboard around it or stick them in a box or something. Don't put them where you have to use those terrible plastic things that can actually cut you. Not when you're talking about a baby's skin. Today I'm wearing my compression gloves again. I actually slept in them last night and they have helped. So we will see how that goes. I will continue wearing them and hoping that it helps some. I will be actually scheduling an appointment for the hand doctor. And I say it like that because I go to the Emory clinic that sports medicine uses. It's a sports medicine clinic, actually. The pro football players, basketball players, and baseball players use it, and they have doctors specialized in different parts of the body. So when I go in for my knee, I go into the person that does orthopedics, the knees for football teams, because those are kind of the best of the best when you're looking at guys that take care of the pro football teams. Yeah, see, you can roll them. Yeah, exactly, Sandra. Rolling them with elastic around them would make it so much better. How was your day today, Sandra? I have little pieces of paper everywhere. That's good to hear. I had a very productive day at the job. I got on this morning and had work to do, and Everything is due on Friday, and I was stressing about that at first, but I got a bulk of it done today, which makes me feel a lot better about getting it all done by Friday. Hi, Rosie. It's good to see you here. I'm going to cut this into a more manageable piece to work with. And because I'm not using pins, I am going to use these nice little red clippies. I'm not pulling out my full sewing kit and everything for this. I'm working on the little engine that could attitude right now. That I am going to work through this process today. I am going to get it done. It is going to work. It is going to yield what I want. So when I get back on working on that hat, I can create what I want the way I want it to look. Now this is going to be a lot more flimsy than what the other one, than what it will be when I make it in leather. But this will still give me what I need. I will still get the information I need from this. And now what I'm going to do to each one of these two pieces is I'm going to get out my nifty little 1/2-inch ruler, the one that's a 1/2 inch wide, my nice new little ruler that I seem to like. And I'm going to mark these 1/2 inches all the way around. Okay, yeah, I had a problem that it's like I had an internet glitch or something. I don't know what it did on the live stream, but it's like my internet glitched. Let me scroll it back and see what you saw. I was working on that. Did it just go black? Oh, it did. It just went black and swirly. Okay. Yeah. It's like I look up and my screen went, the StreamYard screen went white. And then I got a blue message on it that says, sorry, you're screwed. And I was just looking up to see if you could see that where I'm marking these white lines, and I see you can. I'm one of the things I'm trying to do is test the method of whether or not these half-inch seam allowances. Obviously, I know they're half-inch seam allowances. You work with that, but I want to see if when I'm sewing, if I stop sewing here instead of sewing to the end, does that make a difference? Is that going to make a difference in this? And this is the part that's going to be fun. Is marking a half-inch on this curve. Actually, I'm going to turn this around and do it towards me so I can see better. You see, I don't get the luxury of just having a swirly screen and it freezing whatever's on the screen. Man, mine just goes black. But congratulations, everybody sees nothing. I wish we could pick a stream interruption image that it defaults to when the stream gets screwed up. I would find something rather enjoyable to use. I'm going to have to freehand this a little bit. Didn't get a ton of sleep last night because my brain was figuring this out, telling me what I need to do. Because that's what happens when you have ADHD and you have a problem. You go to bed and your brain goes, hey, let me help you fix your problem. And then you wind up staying up all night because your brain wants to fix your problem. So now you can see where I marked all this one. Set this one aside. I've got that longer ruler for this piece. I wonder if today's going to be another slow day. I hate slow days. But it seems like not a lot of people want to watch me those stuff. Eventually, the right people will find me, I guess. That will keep me busy with people in chat while I'm making things. For now, I'll just do what I'm doing. I think I might start up using Twitch as well and dual stream and see if I can grab the attention of some of the people over there in the crafting realm. But before I do that, I will figure out how to take my StreamYard chat and put it on the screen. That way, both chats show up on the screen at all times simultaneously. And if you hear the dogs barking, there must be someone outside the house, like a delivery person. So the dogs are not happy. They think someone is intruding upon our property. Of course, it could just be my husband getting home. If I'm running off to do some things. So now I have the front and the back. And I will set these two pieces aside. That's not wide enough for that. So let me maneuver this. Move stuff out of my way. Yeah, working with fabric is a lot different. It doesn't behave the same. It just doesn't behave the way I want it to. Let me see if I can cut this down a little bit. Because I absolutely don't need that much. Leather behaves better. Yeah. Fabric is not behaving the same way. It obviously is not going to, because, you know, cloth is cloth, leather is leather. They will never behave the same. The nature of their beastly ways. Sorry for bumping the camera on you. And actually, I need to cut another strip just like this. So I am going to this piece. And I did add a little bit extra on there, so that'll work. This piece back. Clip these edges again until I get the other piece on here. This is the part that you can do with fabric that I will not do with leather, is cut 4 pieces at one time. And the reason why you don't do that with leather is because it is more expensive, and if it screws up, it's gone. And that's really expensive. I wouldn't do that when I was corset making, working with the very high dollar fabrics either. Because the last thing you want to do is take something you pay $60 a yard for and butcher it so you have to rebuy it. I've done enough of that lately, having to rebuy supplies to make something. And now I get to take these hats that I cannot use that I was working on and figure out ways to make stuff out of them that I can use. So if you find blue and white keychains showing up at Robbie's and giveaways and stuff, you know what Tori did. Because I will not just throw them away. I'll use that expression that I'm just going to I'm throwing it away. I'm done. I'll use that expression, but I'm technically not throwing it away because I'm too frugal for that. You don't take $100 worth of leather and just toss it in the trash can because it didn't come out, because it doesn't look quite the way you want. You find a way to utilize some of it or all of it to the best of your ability. I don't need a hammer right now, so I can move him. I have a lot of stuff on my desk I was planning on being able to use. It's just not going to fit. Okay. There. Now I have it where I need it. I'm going to use my hole punches as weights. Because they will help hold that down while I draw this out. I'm a firm believer in use what you've got. And this is what I've got, so I will use it. Hi, Terry. Good to see you. See, this gives you a little look inside my brain. That should scare you. that should be good. Still going to put these on here, and I'll figure out how to cut around it all. I'm not working from a proper cutting table. Makes it where I have to move in awkward positions at times, but okay. Yeah, I'm weighing it down a little bit, Terry, so that I don't have to worry about the fabric shifting as much, because I'm not pinning it. I didn't want to have to go dig out my regular sewing kit to get regular straight pins out and everything, because my sewing table does not, my leather crafting area does not have straight pins in it. I have I think they're called T-pins that are used for wigs, but I don't have any straight pins that you would use for sewing at fabric. And the only reason why I have the T-pins, and that's what these are, is because I use them to hold stuff in place on my heads, my heads that I use for my hats, my hat heads. I'll put a pattern, I'll stick them through the pattern and hold the pattern in place with them. I'm going to go ahead and cut this other piece out so I can get this off my lap, because my lap's getting warm. I've got a heater on at my feet, and the fabric is trapping the heat. So that's good. While I'm doing this, I'm anchoring my little finger, which helps me have a more steady hand. Because my hand is not that steady for doing this by itself. I don't know if you could see that, but I had this finger down on here the whole time that I was moving it, so that I could do it in good swoop and not have to lift up so much. I'll take these pattern pieces and stick them on the head that goes with the Garrison caps. Except I just bent my pin. These are not supposed to do that so easily. And you're supposed to be able to put these in these hats, because the heads are made for wigs. Yeah, if you make your own wigs. And so the pins are for holding the wig cap in place. Because you can get them in different sizes, I can get them in whatever size I need just about for making hats. And so that's what I do. If I find a head that I don't have one for, I get another one. That way I space out when I'm buying them, so I don't have every size needed in my future, but I have every size I need for the stuff I've already done. And some of the ones I have are common sizes. Your more common sizes, I should say. So they would work. Normally I would pick this up to cut it and hold it in front of me, but you can't see it if I do that. All I know is I can't use these kind of scissors anymore. I'm going to have to use the spring-loaded ones, because just cutting this that I've cut out right here is hurting me so bad. Making me want to stab somebody. I'm going to move some stuff. Got to move some stuff around so I have more air coming around me. So again, I'm going to come in here and mark these old Hey Lisa, does anyone want to come up here and read chat and talk? Because I keep going quiet, and we know how lovely quiet time gets. So if Rosie or Lisa want to come up, or someone want to come up and read my chat and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to. Drink. Okay. Oh yeah, I'll be on after that. I just came on at 6 o'clock, so yeah, I'll be on at 7. It's going to be a little while for me. I sent it to Lisa in case she wants to come on. Trying to find Rosie on my other place. I'll stick it out there for you, Rosie. So there. You hot it, huh? I know what you mean. Not that hot, Rosie. I'm an old lady. I'm old enough to be your mother. I'm going to mark center on this when I start working with it. Again, with this being a curve, I am going to have to freehand it a little bit, but I am measuring still a 1/2 inch off this edge and just marking it around, because the ruler is not going to curve with that. So I'll just mark it periodically so that I have a line to follow that I can draw in for it to see. And I was going to do this off camera, and then I was like, you know what? Somebody might need to see this. They might need to see how I do this so that they can figure out a problem they have on a craft they're working on. And sometimes, even if it's not the same kind of craft, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I can create a technique, and I can get cheap material and test my technique to perfect it for me. Um, you know, people can do that with crochet, and if you don't like the way it looks, you just pull it out and roll the yarn back up, as long as you didn't have to cut your yarn. Um, that was the nice thing when I did crochet a lot, is that I could test it and just pull it out and roll it back up if I didn't like the way it looked. Mother, huh? I'm old enough to be your mother. There you go. If I ever do pattern drafting, I'll have to do that on screen too, I guess. I hate pattern drafting. You'll more likely see me taking someone else's pattern and butchering it and putting it back together, um, changing it. I do that a lot. Most of the purse patterns I have do not have enough pockets to them. Purses, bags, backpacks, whatever. They never have enough pockets. So I do alter almost every one of them and add pockets, because pockets. That does not look right. This one again. It should have met this other one. Okay, they do meet right close to there. Yeah, I should just put my link in my chat, and put it up there at the top and see if any idiot wants to show me some entertainment. I might get some hot entertainment like Rosie. With my luck, it would be a 90-year-old man with a wrinkly little peanut. That would be my luck. And you know what I mean. No, Terry, no, we're not doing that kind of show tonight. No nakies. We're not doing that kind of stream. Not my kind of content. I'm going to do 2 of these on this side and 2 on the other. And that's because I've got 2 lefts and 2 rights. I feel like this never is going to work if I just swipe it one time. I guess it does. I did 2 times, but yeah. Let me try it once here. Just swipe it once and it'll show. I guess you can see it. Switch back to my short ruler for this part. My rulers have paid for themselves now. They've made me not throw my long one out the door. The long one costs more than the 2 of these combined, so yeah. And everybody send positive and healing energy to all of our people who are sick. I know Marcia O is still sick and she cannot take antibiotics. So she has to suffer through to wait for her body to heal itself, which takes a lot longer. It takes a much longer process. So definitely send her prayers and healing energies so that she can get better and back on her feet. She is the caretaker of her spouse, of her husband. So she kind of needs to be okay. I know what it's like to be that caretaker in the family. Oh, fun, fun. Did you rub them up against your own body to make sure you got all the little stupid pieces out that they put in there? And I say it that way. I know that a lot of people don't like the word stupid, but those plastic tag thingies they shoot into clothes or whatever should never be put into anything for a baby. That cannot be easily removed, such as the tag. Thank you, Sandra. That's crazy. That is insane that it took it. You had to take 45 minutes to get those out. And I don't mean it's insane as in, wow, it took you that long. It's insane as in they were that in there that it took you that long. I don't know what these clothing and or these manufacturers are thinking when they do this. They need to be washed with a washcloth and given a towel to dry off with that is full of those things. Then they would understand the full impact of why people complain about them. Wow. I know this is such an exciting process. I just don't want to skip. And if marking all these pieces is what makes it work right, I will definitely do that part offline. I'm just going to have to get something to mark. Well, let me see. I'm trying to think of how I would do this with white because I can't mark white on white and don't want any other colors showing up on it. And then I will be able to use the inside, which is, will have blue. I can figure that stuff out. If I figure this out, that's the easy stuff to figure out. Yep. Everybody is so quiet. I know Rosie is going off in 5 minutes to call Mama. Two down, two to go. And in theory, I shouldn't have to mark all of them, but I want it where it's covered no matter which way I'm doing this. I have it fully covered. I think part of my frustration is coming from when I went to give blood on Saturday, and for the first time in my life being told my iron is low. It's really bothering me. I don't know why it's bothering me as much as it is, but it's bothering me that my iron is low. And it's, to me, it's, when I say it out loud, it sounds kind of crazy because my daughter has low iron, always has, her entire life. And here I am complaining about one time in my life, I've lived a while now. I'm just really frustrated about it, and it's silly. There are a lot of people who cannot give blood because their iron's low. They run a constant low iron or other reasons. And here I am whining about one time. But it is a way to find out, and it does explain it to me. So now I understand why I've been so tired constantly. Everybody's like, oh, you don't sleep right. That's why you're tired. It's like, no, because my sleep pattern hasn't changed and I'm more tired than I normally am. I know I have a crazy sleep schedule, and that's just because ADHD and insomnia. I can't not have ADHD. Doesn't work that way, you know. Not a choice. Not a choice that my brain thinks that 10 or 11 o'clock at night is the time to wake up and be bouncy and want to stay up all night. My brain wants to sleep until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And I have changed my sleep habits before and forcing myself to bed early and forcing myself to get up and to quote reset my clock. Excuse me. That doesn't work. So yeah. Wow, that's crazy that it's been on back order that long. Is it one of the meds that they're using for an off-label usage, such as some of the diabetic meds being used for weight loss? Um, I mean, I would qualify for that, but I refuse to take a diabetic med for weight loss because that means that if I'm taking it, someone's not. I will do some off-label usage of medicines, but not for me. Not something as dire as that, and not just for weight loss. Oh, I want to lose some weight, so let me take the diabetic med. Oh, you're diabetic and you can't get your med? Ah, and that's kind of important. Um, you know, PTSD meds are kind of like, yeah, that's kind of important. It seems like they'd be after the manufacturer to get on that. The FDA needs to get on them about that. Um, because if it's one of the few medicines or one of the only meds that does what it does, they can't just stop making it if it affects the quality of life of an individual. It it they have it's a and I know what it's called here. The FDA calls it. It's the Orphan Drug Act. I don't know if the international ICH does the same thing, but so if a drug manufacturer starts manufacturing a drug that's not widely used but is highly effective for something, um, they can't just not make it. And that has to do with you can't start manufacturing a drug and for something and then stop manufacturing it and leaving the people that were taking it without a way to continue, because that would negatively affect the quality of life they came accustomed to by having that medication. And obviously, if you haven't been able to get your med, you understand the impact of not having access to a med you've been taking, you know that negative impact. Do you know who manufactures it? Hi, Tammy. Because sometimes contacting the manufacturer directly and saying, I need this medicine and it has been in back order. And and tell them all this and see the manufacturer may be able to help you. And this is something that a lot of people don't know is if you are lower income or on a fixed income and stuff like that, you can actually go to the manufacturer, and a lot of them have programs to apply to get medicine for free or a highly reduced cost. My mother used to get her most expensive medicine that even with her insurance was extremely expensive. And she was able to get that, and they shipped it to her 6 months at a time because it was a maintenance med. It wasn't something you take just occasionally. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Stacy. Yeah, and Sandra is not able to get one of the meds that she's supposed to be taking and hasn't been able to since August. And so that's what we were talking about. I know a bit about the pharmaceutical industry. Sandra, are you in the Facebook group that Rosie started with us, with some people in it? If so, you can send me a message of what the med is and I can look it up and see if there is a program through the manufacturer. Because sometimes the manufacturer can help you, the drug company itself. When they start getting that, my God, my life depends on this medicine and I can't get it now. What's going on? They start seeing how their medicine is impacting other people, and maybe they increase manufacturing or something like that. I'm going to find the center of this piece. Do what we call finger pressing. Which will just create a little line. You can see that fold line right here down that center. And that way I can find it later when I need to put things together. Do the same thing here. I'm basically poking in this corner. And then I come over here and I look for that same corner and I poke the needle in. I'm actually going to use this like a straight pin. It'll work for this, I think. Because I also have to do the bottom. Let me see. Another one up here. In theory, it should be close. Yeah. Actually, what I need to do is use something other than my fingers before. I've been known to wear a blister on my finger by rubbing fabric too much. And I also wore down the edge of a fingernail doing that. My fingernails are a mess right now. I don't know what I did to my hands, but I have broken every one of my fingernails. I'm going to have to go get some acrylic put on them to fix it. Tammy, have you tried to contact the drug manufacturer? That's what I was talking to Sandra about, is contacting, if you know who the manufacturer is, contacting them directly and going, what's going on? I'm a cancer patient. I'm supposed to be taking this medicine and I can't find it locally. And the drug manufacturers may be able to help you. And sometimes they will ask you questions and go, oh yeah, let me send you that med. Get a prescription from your doctor and I can send you the med for free, or discounted, or I can give you a discount code on it, or tell you where you can get it from a mail order pharmacy or something. Or tell you if you need to go back to your doctor and tell your doctor that they have to find you something else to use. I know there's a lack of communication in a lot of ways, and that makes things harder. My hand's hurting me, so it's funny. I have my live stream up on one monitor. Over here, it's on StreamYard, and then over here on the computer, it's on YouTube, and my YouTube keeps lagging. I am going to have to use these like pins because I'm going to need pins. I just noticed when you measure the half inch, these two are, they didn't measure the same. That's odd. They should have. A half inch is a half inch. By golly. Do that again. Yeah, there it goes. Stick it in there. Pull out my wig pins to use. I can't believe I'm going to use my wig pins. I do not have wigs. I do not wear wigs. I just use the wig pins, like I said earlier, for pinning stuff to my heads that I buy to use for hats, which are actually heads that they design for people who do make wigs, because you can use these pins to pin your wig cap onto the head. It's like I have one head sitting over here. I have one head sitting over here. I have one head on the sewing machine behind me. Head, wig head, yeah. And you can get them in different diameters according to your head size. And so the pink one I just got is a 23 inch. diameter head. You know, Tammy, if it was a common headache medicine, common painkiller, it wouldn't be so bad because, you know, we have lots of pain medicines. So, not being able to get your codeine from pharmacy X, pharmaceutical company X, and having to go to get it from pharmaceutical company Y, yeah, so what? You know, that's no big deal. Oh, you can't get codeine this month? Okay, then use something different. But when you're talking about your diabetic meds, your cancer meds, your PTSD meds, and stuff, what I consider as life sustaining meds, that's unacceptable. I just hope it's not anyone I'm working with. Yeah, Terry, you can only get it for free if it's actually in stock. And that's what they're talking about is these aren't painkillers. One of them, you know, is a cancer med, one of them's a PTSD med, and they're not in stock. They don't have it in the stores for whatever reason. Hey, I just realized somewhere I have a spool of thread that I got for the wigs. What did I do with that spool of thread? People that were here, do you remember what I did with that stupid spool of thread for the wigs? I don't know why I still have this on my desk. It's empty. Let me take a peek and see if I can figure out where I put it. I have a tendency to stick stuff in front of me, so that's where I'm looking, and I don't see it there either. So I will pull out. Let's see which one. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll use this green color. That sounds good. I know I have a lot of this thread. I'm going to just baste these things together. I'm not going to sew them like I normally would. I'm going to go ahead and pull enough for 2 of these. I thought I was shortening the thread, and I was actually making it longer. Don't think I need those anymore. I keep them on my table all the time, just about. Maybe I just realized if I pull that needle, these things gonna fall. When I get my stuff rearranged, I will put my sewing table next to the wall, where on like this side of me will be a wall that I can have a cabinet on it with my most used stuff. And it's crazy. This thread is not going to be as nice to pull through. I'm not going to be able to do a running stitch like that. Yep, definitely different than working with leather. Let's not do it. Fine. Yeah, a lot of people are like that. They can't take it, the certain meds. I'd be screwed if they told me I couldn't take ibuprofen. It's one of the few things that I actually take a concoction a doctor told me about that is taking ibuprofen and Tylenol together. I don't take it often because you're not supposed to. Um, it's not like taking it every day, multiple times a day. You don't do that. But you can take both of them because they are two different classifications. And it works closer to the pain relief of a prescribed med without having the whoop-de-loo high effect of it. I don't like that make your head woozy effect that you get from meds. Not at all. Hi, DMS. I am working through a creative process before I blow up all my leather and throw it in the trash, because this is something I should be able to work through and I'm having trouble with it. And so I'm working with fabric. I'm going to change this and not put that little knot in there because fabric does not like a knot. I'm working with fabric to work my brain through the process and doing some chit chat, because that's basically what we do. We have a group of people that talks almost every day when you look at how many lives we get on together. Oh, my hands are just going to kill me. Maybe I should have used the sewing machine for this. Okay, it's okay if I do one stitch at a time. No, it isn't. I need a needle with, I don't know, I need a bigger needle. I think if I use a fatter needle, or a needle that goes to a fatter head, that it might, because they all start from a point. But if I use a needle with a fatter head, it might open the hole big enough to get this thread through without causing me so much problems. I'm going to try this theory. I'm just tired of a lot of things not working out the way they're supposed to. You know, I've been sewing since I was a child. And then for something that I consider a simple, which should have been a simple process, not to work for me, is driving me crazy. Yeah, this one's working. Maybe it was just that needle was being a pain. This one, it just isn't a very sharp needle. Nine days to go. What, before one of your packages is there? The package from Robbie? Oh, no. So you can change your name. 9 days until you can change your name. That's what you're excited about. And I bet you never make your name Terry, where's my package, ever again. I'm not big into changing my name. The only time I mean, I did change my name to add my Leatherworks to it, but that's about it. Um, just because I was going to be using it more for my leather stuff than, and it's not just personal. Plain old Terry. I don't think you should make it plain old Terry. I think you should just put it as Terry. What is your channel about, Tammy? What do you plan to have as the main focus going forward? I just know I'm not going to be in the habit of changing my channel name and stuff like, or changing my name on here every season of the wind, like some people do. I know someone that in the last 2 years has had like 8 different names. Yeah, plain old Terry. There we are. I have not sewn fabric in so long. This whole feeling of it is just wrong. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure I know who that is, don't I? And it's stupid. It's like changing your name constantly doesn't mean that we don't know who you are, because we know who you are. So that was step number 1 on this process. Step number 2 is going to be to put this one on from the center, being careful not to go over that, making sure that I don't go past this, because I think that's part of the process that I messed up, is I sewed it straight through. Is this it where you can see it? I sewed it straight through here last time, and I think that's part of the problem, that I need to chill my jets and pay attention. It's very different because I don't 99.95% of my sewing, making leather goods, I stitch by hand. Oh, I thought you said you were tracking me. I mean, you can. You guys would be bored watching my channel trying to come up with content. Unless you like talking about old ladies with purple hair and arthritic hands and knees. that she needs to go to the doctor for and is too stubborn. Yeah, I started sewing when I was like 5 years old. My mom used to sew for other people, and she would just let the scraps that were going to be thrown out. She would let them just hit the floor when she was making a project, and I started taking the pieces, and I would do this. I'm going to example this one because I would lay down a piece of fabric. I would lay down my doll, and then I would lay down another piece of fabric. And then I would hand stitch around the perimeter of the doll and then cut out the extras. So my dolls all wore clothes that were inside out. And then one day my mom showed me how you're supposed to do it and showed me how to make an opening in the back and sew a hook and eye. So I started making doll clothes that had hook and eye closures. And then one day my mom left her sewing machine open and threaded. And I watched her sew on it. So I used it. Got the thread jammed up, broke a needle, things like that. And when mom got home and was paying attention to it, she fussed at me greatly. And then showed me how to properly thread the machine, change the needle and all that, and how to avoid breaking the needle. And started making my own clothes because I was watching her do it. And we would go to the store and I'd find fabric and, oh, this would make a cool skirt. And she would be like, okay, I'll get it for you, but you're going to make it yourself. And so I started making my own clothes. Yeah, by the time I got to middle school, and which it was not called middle school when I went, but and I had to take home ec. All the girls took home ec, all the boys took shop class. That was just the way it was. And I just didn't feel like fighting with the school because you could fight them and let them take the other one. But I knew that I was walking into an easy A. Exactly. I actually went to junior high, did not go to middle school. I'm that old. Um, and so it's like I knew I was going to get an A in the class. It's, the teacher started talking about how we're going to learn how to make these basic A-line skirts. And I'm showing up to school in the circle skirt that I made myself or a highly pleated skirt that I made myself. And, people complimenting on it. And I'm in class and it's like, yeah, I made this. And the teacher's looking at me like I'm crazy. And she's like, why are you in this class? And it's like, because they told me I had to take it. And then you're young enough that your parents probably went to junior high. And it may be somewhere back in the head you've heard them reference it that way, because our brains do that. But yeah, I took home ec, and then the teacher started complaining because she couldn't teach me anything. I was already cooking. Mom and dad got a divorce when I was young. Well, they separated. They weren't divorced yet. They separated when I was real young. It was before I started school. I know that. It was probably when we moved from California to Mississippi, and then mom started sewing for people. So I was probably 4.5, 5 years old. And so, mom raising two girls on her own. So cooking was a necessity. We had to learn how to cook early. No, I was not cooking full meals at 5 years old. But, you know, by the time my sister turned 12, we no longer went to a babysitter because it was legal. And I don't know if it still is, but it was legal to leave us home at that time. And even with that, my grandmother lived next door. We weren't like being left alone and in danger because grandma lived next door. And we knew what we had to do. We got into the house, we did our homework, and started dinner for mom. My sister cooked more than I did, but she didn't like it as much. So when I started cooking, my sister allowed it. The same thing, any of the domestic stuff, my sister doesn't hardly sew. Okay, let me catch up. Oops. Forgetting the sugar. At least you didn't do what my sister did. My sister made sugar cookies and screwed up and mixed and put salt in it instead of sugar. And yes, I am just basting this. I'm not trying to make it look good. I'm testing a technique. I'm not doing this for anything else. This piece will literally become a cleaning cloth when I'm done with it. Because I do clean my own leather. I have leather stuff that I wear, and I clean it and condition it and polish my own shoes and stuff like that also, which will be something that I will start doing online. I'm going to pick one day a week to stream and do a leather care class. Oh no, I have ADHD. Doing two things at once is a good thing. And I have the computer screen literally, well, I have a monitor literally right here, and my computer is over here. So no matter which way I look, I can see my chat. So yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I went off the line there a little bit. And nothing new to my life. I come from a house of people or a family of people with various things going on. That's something I need to do. I need to crease this piece before I sew it when I do it in leather. And I need to be making myself some notes here. That won't go that good enough. I need to quit using these scissors and use these. These are spring loaded. And so I can just rest this in the palm of my hand and use these fingers to do the scissors, and it won't stress this thumb that's killing me right now. I promise I will go to the doctor soon for all my orthopedic issues. I feel like I'm just falling apart. And then I'll go to the doctor and they'll tell me, well, you're not as young as you used to be. Not a spring chicken anymore. And then when the doctors do that, I just want to throat punch them. It's like, I didn't ask how old I was. I know how old I am. I know I'm not a spring chicken, but dadgum, make it not hurt so bad. Getting old shouldn't hurt this much. Hi, MZ. Waiting to hear from Lisa on when she's sending my package. I know she's only sending me one of my pretties, though. A couple of my pretties. One of my pretties, she's not sending me. Two of my pretties, she's not sending me. Yeah. She's not sending me my spirit quartz, and because I don't want it to get broken. And she's not sending me my huge citrine because, well, we don't want that to get broken either. Let's see, I have some thread scraps over here. Actually, this one's got thread on it. I'll use it. Because I don't throw away my thread scraps, I will use them. Ah. Yeah, I was going through my, I'm in the process of cataloging all my rocks. And I think it's the wax. That thread is heavily waxed, and that's my problem because this thread went through too easy. And it's not heavily waxed. Anyway, I have an obsession with amethyst because it is my birthstone. So, yeah, I have a lot. And I didn't realize how much I had until I started going through my stuff and saw how much I had. So what did I do is I bought more amethyst. Go figure. Yeah, DMS is becoming one of us, one of us obsessive compulsive people that buy all the pretties from Robbie and Lisa. Because why the hell not? And then when you question, why am I spending this money? You remind yourself, because I'm worth it. Because that's what I do. Anytime I spend money on myself, I remind myself that I work hard and to take care of this house and everybody in it. And you know what? I deserve a little nice every now and then. I deserve lots of nice. So, yeah. I don't know, DMS. If your pictures are you, then no. I'm old. Not as old as some, younger than some, older than others, but yeah. There's a lot of people on here I'm old enough to be their mama, but not Terry. Actually, a lot of the people here are close to my age. I'm close to Robbie's age. Actually, I'm 3 months younger than Robbie. Ouch. I'm not ashamed of my age. So this is what I had planned to do. Was only sew one side of that. And sew this. And not sew this back seam until later. So I can, this is the part where I need to start testing this theory. But when I look here, I do see how this is going to bring this to a sharper point, and that's going to look good. My husband ignores it when I have rocks show up. I went down to Robbie's. I drive a Tahoe. I went down to Robbie's. It was me, my daughter, and my grandchild, my eldest grandchild. And when I came home, the back compartment, the floor of the back compartment, which it's a 3-seater, so we put down the very back row of seats and we put down the double seat, on the split seat, the second row of seats. We put down the double seat. And the back compartment was full. It wasn't full to the roof, but it had more than one layer of stuff. Of course, I did bring a body home with me too.
Possibly should not say that. It sounds very bad.
It's a double body double for sewing.
That's not
that Marcia gave me. So that's there.
Do you need any drink? All right. Or?
I have 4 down here. Thank you, Tofa.
Oh, okay.
My
You're
grandson was checking on me and see if I needed anything to drink. So I'm going to take this piece and set it aside now and stitch these together. So I have 2 that go this way and 2 that go that way. So I'm going to take and put these 2 together. And then I'll put these 2 together. And then when I open them up, I can put them together. This one still has enough thread on it. Okay, let me see. Hi, Francis. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, DMS, are you a February baby? MZ, the answer is always more than this. Is this the same child of yours that I'm going to be talking to? See, I'm the 11th. And Robbie's son, the one we call Z, is also on the 11th. I told Robbie it was very nice of him to have Z on my birthday. But then I got married on Robbie's birthday. I got married on Robbie's birthday before I ever knew Robbie. So Robbie and I have this weird connection with dates. That, it's like I got married on his birthday. His son was born on my birthday, and we haven't checked other dates. But yeah, it's just weird. I have those kinds of connections with people. Come on. Wearing these compression gloves is affecting my ability to do things. My hands don't move. And it's weird because the compression gloves are not restrictive. It is a textile thing of me being able to feel things. They make things feel funny. And so it's like I can't function. You're going to be 66 in May. Topher's birthday is in May. He's a May baby. I don't normally mark up my pieces like this. For those that have paid attention to me working on this stupid Garrison Cap, there's a reason for me marking it. I'm trying to see if making sure that I'm stopping where it tells me to on these pattern pieces, such as here and here, then that it'll affect how this is working. And enough for that. And a little bit. I'm going to see if doing that makes it where it actually goes together the way I need it to. Because that would be really nice. Oh, his is before you. Let me see. Yeah, he's the second. I have this thing about numbers. I have to play them in my head for them to work. It's an ADHD thing, I think. Did I tie my string? Probably not. I always forget to do that. Because when I leather work, I don't tie a knot in the end of my string like you do when you're sewing cloth. Yeah, I'm brought some amethyst down here one night because we knew Kendra wasn't going to be on the live with Lisa, so I was going on the live with Lisa. And when Kendra, her cousin, goes on the live with her, she fondles stuff. I mean, she will pick up something and she'll just be on the camera, rubbing it and stuff. And she does that with a lot of rocks and gems and crystals and pretty things. So I brought a couple of pieces on the live with me so that I could do that, so that people wouldn't miss out on watching someone fondle stuff. It was a ha funny that we were doing. And, and then we have to clarify, no, I was not trying to take Kendra's place. I was playing substitute. I do that on occasion. Sometimes I'm a substitute flutter. That's cool. Almost as good as it could have been Return of the Sith, the fifth. I need to move these scissors because I keep wanting to grab those purple handled scissors. I wish they made these with nice pretty handles like that, because I'm just weird like that. And for this, I'm just gonna I'm just going to need to quit. I'm starting to pick up on using a lot of slang. Gonna. And when I started working in my field 30 something other years ago, I worked very hard to get rid of using slang. And I'm finding myself starting to use it again. And I cannot do that with my work because I work internationally. I worked hard at getting rid of my Southern accent and not using those little nuances of that's not the way I wanted to do that. The little nuances of slang terms because of my work. You can't pop over to England and use some of the terminology we use in the U.S. Some of the slang, especially Southern slang. A lot of people do not understand Southern slang. We have a language of our own in the South. I grew up in the deep South. I grew up way deep South. I lived 2.5 blocks off the Dag Blasted Beach. So yeah, I was pretty close to right there. South as you can get in Mississippi. You were not going any more south than what I could go when you went to Mississippi. Any more south and you're in the water. But anyway, so I absolutely had a very Southern way of speaking because of the nature of the beast of where I grew up. And when I started getting closer to graduating college, I realized the last thing I needed to do as a female going into a predominantly male dominated field at the time is be that stereotypical Southern gal and have that Southern drawl going on. And people assume I also was that stereotypical movie actress, dingy Southern woman. Okay, Tammy. Thank you. I will check that. And I just tape down this center or pin the center so it stays.
Do you have any more? Do you have any aloe vera?
No, I do not. What did you do?
So I'm actually roasting the chicken in the pan with oil.
My grandchild has put come down here with red spatter marks all over the body. Actually, you know the cabinet that we keep the Tupperware in?
Yes.
Look up
Yeah, I
top.
asked Christopher, he said there was some.
There should be some green bottles up there.
Yeah, he said we won't even see any of them up there. I think something moved in. I run cold water over this, by the way. But
Yeah, cool water is what they would tell a doctor would tell you to do.
But I would prefer to put some, you know.
Aloe vera is about it. Yeah. Don't put any, don't be watching TikToks and putting anything weird on it.
Do not tell him. She will freak out.
Oh, fun.
Because you know her.
Okay, I'm still live. Yeah. So yeah, my grandchild has now, got speckle marks on the arm right here. No, it's not. It is first degree burns from grease, and they did the absolute right thing. The first thing they did was run cool water over it. Nice to know my grandchild pays attention. They didn't try some of the weird things that people say to do, such as put mayo on it. Some of the craziest things I've seen people do is put mayonnaise on a burn. Almost as bad as telling people to put peanut butter or stuff like that. So yeah, they did the right thing. They ran it under cool water to cool it down. But aloe vera would have been nice, but I know I have some. I bought it during the pandemic when you couldn't get anything. Couldn't get hand sanitizer worth a flip. Barely find soap. And so, but what I could buy was 99% isopropyl alcohol and aloe vera gel. And if you mix them up, you can make your very own, very liquid hand sanitizer.
Nice.
And we used it when we would go to the store and stuff, because I live in Georgia where people are just nasty at times, and they will go out of the house sick as a dog and cough right in your face. And they've always done it. But when COVID hit and people were dropping dead from it, from what looked like a cold, I wasn't taking the risk with some of these cray-crays around here. And so I had to have what was necessary for my husband to be able to protect himself when he went out. Because I am the primary moneymaker in the house, I did not leave my house for months and months. My husband was the one that did the shopping and was very cautious because he has OCD and is overcautious on everything he does. So he was the best choice for sending out into the public. He's also tall, rather large, kind of a large guy, so there wasn't too many people that were going to bully him. Yeah, DMS, they actually tell you don't put your condiments on your burns. Yeah, that's, I have, my oldest grandchild has autism. So, things like not a lot of stuff on the store shelves freaked him out early on. And so I wound up having to create an indoor pantry, extra pantry. We call it the outdoor pantry. It's in the garage. But we had to create an extra pantry so that we could carry extra food anytime anyone went to the store if they had an overabundance of food. We were not hoarding. We were not denying people. But if they just got in tuna and the shelves were stocked massively with tuna, it would be like, yeah, grab a couple of sleeves or canned chicken, because we bought a lot of the canned meats in case we couldn't find fresh meat. And then chicken became a staple because some of the chicken, people that manufactured chicken farms for the restaurant industry, wound up with an abundance of chicken that they couldn't sell because restaurants weren't open. And so they came to the racetrack, which is a couple miles down the road, and were selling cases. So chicken breast, hi Lisa, chicken breast, the big ones like you get in a restaurant. They were selling like a 40-pound box for $15, $20, stuff like that. And chicken thighs were the same way. And so we bought an abundance. I had one freezer that was dedicated to nothing but chicken. I had a freezer of chicken. Yeah. And when we couldn't find other meats, we had chicken. Got creative. You can do a lot of things with chicken. Oh. Yeah, that's just it. DMS is during the height of it, when it was really, really bad. I mean, we had people here. We had a group of people here. Someone in their family had died, and they were told not to have a funeral, in public funeral, and they did anyway. And over half of the people who attended wound up sick. All of the elder people from that wound up in the hospital. So it was like everybody that was like over 60 years old was wound up in the hospital, in the overcrowded hospitals. And then a lot of several of them wound up passing away. And then the people were like, oh, well, this COVID thing might be real. Maybe we should not gather in groups of 100 during the height of this. Yeah, being in the rural area is what saved me. I'm not in a rural area, but I was camping the weekend that all the stuff around here shut down. And so my daughter went to the store to see about getting some groceries. I said, go get some groceries. I'll send you some money, blah, blah, blah. And she gets to the store with children in tow, and the shelves are empty. She sends me pictures of the shelves. She sends me messages telling me that my eldest grandchild is freaking out. He wants to know what we're going to eat. He thinks we're going to starve. So I was like, well, I'm up here in the middle of nowhere. Let me see what I can find. And we found a super Walmart. And we went to said super Walmart and realized that the people there in this little town in the middle of nowhere had not been informed that the world was shutting down. So they had not made a run on their store. Their store was fully packed and had just got a shipment in. So I messaged my daughter and I said, I got this. I got this. And I went shopping and we bought, I usually don't use canned vegetables, but when you don't know when you're going to get vegetables, you buy what you can get. And so that's exactly what we did. Was we went ahead and bought canned vegetables, and I bought them by the flat because they had so many. And so I bought a flat of each type of vegetable they had, including the mixed vegetables. Tons of canned and jarred sauces, tons of pasta and rice, stuff like that, stuff that you can buy that's non-perishable. Fruits or veggies in fruits in cans also, and cake mixes, because it's a comfort thing that he likes to make. It's called dump cake, and so giving him the ability to do that was important. And so we did all this, and we then I sent a picture home of the back of my Escape. I had a Ford Escape at the time, and said, we got food. And that calmed him down. But then after that, every time someone went shopping, which was usually my husband, like I said, he would check the staples that we used, and if he would see, what vegetables we had and stuff like this, but he would also see what they had. And if they had a massive stock of green bean or corn or peas or whatever, he would get some. We had lots of beans and rice in the house. We slowly over the last couple of years have actually used up some of that stuff. But what was important was that I could take him and show him this food was enough to last us, and pull out the calendar and show him we had enough food to last 2 to 3 months. So that he knew that we were not going hungry. And that got him through the pandemic without any meltdowns or anything, because he knew that we had food. No matter what he could find in the store, we had food. I bought boxed milk, which we don't usually buy, the powdered milk, and canned cream, because I know that you can make it up to use it for recipes if necessary. And I told him, it's like, you don't have to use it, but this covers us if we can't buy milk. And so, it was just using what I know from living on a mountain without electricity. So, and using what I know from camping and stuff, and used all that to figure it out. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you. Welcome back, Lisa. And we've actually maintained the pantry. Even though things have calmed down, we've maintained it because it comes in handy. If we just don't feel like going to the store, we have food. We absolutely have food. And it has also taught my grandson that when he gets his own place, to build that. My email scrolls across the bottom of the screen. I grew up different, even from a lot of people my own age, because I grew up single parent, so we got to be creative at times. I grew up on a mountain without any electricity. In my teen years, when I went to go live with my dad, we lived on a mountain, and it was, cut your own firewood to heat the house and to cook, because we cooked on a wood burning stove, and heating water in a pan to dump in the tub to take a bath. And so you learned how to manage. And we kept a pantry while we lived on the mountain of stuff. Some of it we canned ourselves, but of non-perishable goods, we had a pantry that would get us by. Ouch. Hey, come on. Quit stabbing myself. Too bad these gloves, in addition to being compression gloves, do not stop me from stabbing myself. Because these stupid T-pins hurt. These are not your normal straight pins because I'm not pulling out my sewing stuff to get it on my leather crafting table. I'm just using this fabric to figure out what my method is that I need to do for my Garrison cap to get it to come out in a way that I'm happy with. Because if it's not something that I would be happy wearing, I'm not sending it to someone else. I won't put my label on something that I wouldn't wear myself. So yeah, I don't send out stuff I consider subpar. I'm too mental for that. Has to be a quality that I would expect from something I paid good money for. Definitely need to get some twinkle lights for my cabinets. And I have ADHD, by the way, so I jump topics. I need to get some twinkly lights to put in my cabinet too, because I just put crystals in wine glasses, stemmed wine glasses, and some that don't have stems. And I am loving the way they look. Absolutely loving the way they look. Nursing school now. Yeah, my sister is the one who went to nursing school. I'm a computer geek. She went into nursing. I can't do her job. She can't do mine. I could do hers if I absolutely had to, but I don't want to. I have no desire to poke holes in people's bodies, So nursing wasn't for me. I'm not squeamish about blood, guts, and gore. I can talk about damn near any topic. It doesn't freak me out or anything. It's not that. It's the empath part of it, of having a tendency to feel other people's pain, that makes it very hard to be able to be a nurse. It would destroy me because I'm terrible at blocking. I usually am the one who takes in other people's emotional pains. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with needing to change up. People have change ups for different reasons. My daughter's having a change up because she fell and got injured at her former job and had the realization that her body can't be fixed. Some of the stuff that was injured can't be fixed. She's going to have aches and pains forever. So she's not going to be able to stand on her feet and do the types of works that she was doing before. So she had to look into something different and went back to school. Yeah, when you that's actually, well, my sister had said she was going to be a nurse since she was like 6 years old. She told my mom she was going to be a nurse and she was going to fix people. And that never changed. She always said she would be a nurse. But she had a child that had something wrong with him. And the best guess at the time the doctors could give is that he was a child that should have passed to SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, that he should have passed with that, and he didn't. He would be just sitting there watching TV or playing or whatever, and his body would forget to breathe. And he would turn purple. And, and then you'd have to shake him or smack him. And, obviously you got to watch how you shake a small child. But, smack him on the butt to make him take that deep breath, to shock him, so to speak. And he was in and out of the hospital. So she saw the good, the bad, and the ugly of nursing. And you've had a child, in the hospital. If you've been in the hospital enough, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's, that motivated her to be better when she decided to go to nursing school. She obviously didn't do it then because there was no way she would leave his side. She would live in the hospital with this child for months sometimes and would not leave his side. And after he passed, he did at 4 years old. I told her it was time. And she was like, what? And I said, education, it's time. And she's like, I'm too old for this now. And I'm like, nope, it's time. And so she had actually dropped out of school because she decided that getting married and having a baby was more important than her education. And so I went down to the library, got the GED book. And this is where I get the whole thing about me I mother people. Got the GED book, sat down with her, taught her what she didn't already know with algebra and stuff like that because she had not taken those classes. And she studied and I tested her, and she studied and I tested her, and then she went and took the GED and aced it. So it was like, well, there you go. I don't want to hear about it anymore. And then she started college. And she got her 4-year degree. She got her bachelor's degree in nursing. And one of the things she practiced a lot was having the ability to set an IV or draw blood on someone that has small veins or compromised veins. And she did that. She practiced that of working with the smallest line. Whatever they did to practice, they would draw a line, and I need a finer pen. I want to make it smaller. I want to do it, have a smaller target. And she did that, and she practiced to the point that when she works at a hospital, when she's in the regular part of the hospital working, they will call her to the emergency department sometimes. They've had her set IVs on elderly people that have, those tiny veins, and they're fragile and frail. And, she walks down there, and they had one lady, the nurse had stuck her like 4 times in one hand. When my sister got down there, the lady's hand was just black and blue. And the little old lady, she was like in tears, and she's like, I don't want any more needles. And my sister talked to her, and while she was talking to her, she took the hand that had not been stuck and was holding it off the side of the bed, and shaking her hand, and kind of thing. And she was talking to her, telling her, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to only stick you one time. I will not move my needle around when I stick you. It'll either go in the vein or it won't. If it does not, then we will have to call the IV team to come set this for you. And she talked to her, and finally the lady told her, okay. She, gave her that consent, because consent's important. And one stick, and she got it. And the emergency department nurse was shocked because even when she was doing it, they were questioning her, because she's like, I need a pediatric butterfly. And they go, you don't use a pediatric butterfly for this. And she just kind of turned and looked at him and said, I need a pediatric butterfly. Because she knew that they're smaller. And so when you have someone that has small veins, They're giving you a small target. Quit using the big needle. Go to the little needles that you would use for babies. Yeah, everything's going to move a little bit slower, but you can start pumping her with enough fluid that you get her veins pumped up again, because poor old thing was dehydrated from being sick. So yeah, but they call her for children and stuff like that, and difficult sticks all the time. Oh yeah, see, she wouldn't have gone to your thumbs, Jennifer. Absolutely would have never tried to do blood draws or anything like that from behind your thumbs. And now that you said something, I will pay attention, because I am going to have to be going to the doctor. I've got to go to the doctor for my hands. That's why I'm wearing compression gloves. Having a lot of problems. I had a problem a year ago, went to the doctor. They told me to let my hands rest and then wear the stupid brace that prevents me from being able to work. And it's progressively gotten worse. When I move this thumb in circles, this one hurts. This one hurts and pops, like constant pop, 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 pop. So yeah. And DMS, you can. I'm going to give you my mother's advice, or my mother's speech. Yeah, like the speech I got from my mother. Honey, you can do anything you want to do. As long as you put your mind to it and you do the work, you can do it. That was my mother's inspirational speech to us kids. And I guess that's part of my can-do attitude, because was my mom. That's what she taught us girls, is that you can do anything. Don't let anyone put you down. Don't let anyone hold you down. Do what you need to do to accomplish your tasks and goals. So I did. My sister did. She's a good nurse. She actually works critical care. So she works with patients that are less likely to leave the hospital. And she makes sure they're comfortable. And she does what she needs to do. I've watched her sit down and watch football with one old guy. Wasn't even a team that she liked. But by golly, she sat there and watched it with him because his family wasn't visiting him. And that's what he wanted to do. Another nurse made a comment about sitting down and watching. It must be nice to sit down and watch football. She goes, I have 2 patients. One is in a coma. I'm monitoring him. I have everything on my phone that I need to monitor him. And I have this guy, who we know is not going to walk out of this hospital. He will never go home. And if he wants to watch football in the last days of his life, by golly, he's watching football. And if he needs someone to watch football with him, as long as I have the patients that I have, I'm going to watch football with him. My sister and I don't talk. I haven't talked to her in years. My biological family forgets the phones work both ways. And I got tired of being the one making calls. So, but I cannot deny that she is an excellent nurse. She sucks as a sister, but she's a great nurse. Yeah, my sister's not a hospice nurse. She's a critical care nurse. And in that department, I mean, some of the patients do go home. They do. It depends, but a lot of them don't. And so they have you on a point system, so it's not a standard floor where you're like the nurse and you got this whole floor. You're on a point system. Doesn't matter how many patients are in there. If a patient is on an IV, the patient gets a point. If the patient is on a ventilator, that's points. And so everything that's going on about the patient has points associated with it. And you are only allowed to work on or carry so many points with your patients. If you have a patient that has everything under the sun wrong with them, and ventilator and IV and heart monitor and all this kind of stuff, you may end up with only one patient. Or you may end up with that patient and another one that doesn't have anything attached to it. They just have to be monitored constantly. And she found that that best suited her. When she was in school, she did the pediatric unit. She helped a lady give birth and the lady wasn't supposed to be able to have babies. So that was a big deal for her. And, and she thought it was cool, but it wasn't what she wanted to be doing at the end of the day, I guess is the best way to put it. It wasn't going to be the one thing that brought her happiness. And that was and she doesn't like the emergency room. She even tried home health nursing, and that worked in the beginning for a while until she was assigned someone that we knew, and she lost her. And that hit her hard, knowing that, it was a family friend. Somewhat of she was kind of married into the family, but married into part of the family that was only married into the family. So it's kind of really weird to say it that way. Like her brother married my aunt, and her daughter married one of my uncles. And so it was so she was kind of a distant relative, so to speak. And that's just, so yeah, my sister did that until then, and then she was done. She's like, I can't do this part anymore. I need to go. And so she started working in a hospital. And she rotated around the different parts to find out what part would work for her best. I think I'm going to have to stitch this closed in order to do this. Okay. I'm going to stop pinning for a minute and stitch this line closed. And I just sit in the background and I write code on computers to make cool things happen. Okay, I do analysis on the computer. Yeah, my sister, it's like any chance that she got to do a rotation when she, when she was in school, you have to do all the different things. But when she started working at the hospital, when she had the opportunity to do rotations in the different departments, she did. That's how she found out what worked best for her. Oh, no, this actually, I have ADHD, so this is how I do things anyway. If I wasn't live streaming and doing this, I would be watching something on my Netflix while doing this. That's what I was doing before I started live streaming it. I would just watch Netflix and sew. So I do need to scroll up and see if there's any other stuff that I missed. I know when Lisa came in, I said hi to her. Okay, yeah, right there. And then Jennifer came in, I said hi. You see, my sister can't do the pediatric stuff. And I think that's from having a child that she lost, that it has too much of an emotional connection for her. And I got to move this cord because trying to look through a cord doesn't work for me. My mom pushed us educationally, my mom pushed us hard. And that was just so we could get an education to have a life that was a good life. DMS, meet Jennifer. I know Jennifer in real life. Yet Jennifer talks. You see, and it might be that you need to do peds. I mean, you might find that you need to do peds to fix the issues with wherever you decide to go work. Take over the universe. Ha ha ha. Yes, Jennifer, you're a talker. You know you are. Jennifer will be dead near asleep, sitting there talking. Jennifer and I have worked different events together before and hung out and stuff like that. And so we'd be sitting at Waffle House at strange hours, half asleep, chit chatting. Little o moi. Yes, Jennifer, little o you. Don't even act all that innocent stuff. Girl, you know that does not work with me. I do know there's a problem with this not going all the way to the end. Because if I only sew it to there, there's going to be a gap. So I am going to have doing that, and then I still have to come back here to catch this. Oh, that sounds nice, Jennifer. Someone has to do it, and you're qualified. Jennifer's all about helping others as well. Oh, Jennifer, please. We're all somebody, and you know it. Don't even go there. We're all somebody. You have life stories that you can share with the right people and help them. And that matters. It's one of the reasons why I don't mind sitting here doing the chit chat, because you never know what the topic of conversation is going to come up. That's going to be something, and someone goes, "Oh, I needed this." And it's the whole reason why I started this stream. Is today was because I was going to be doing this brain dump thing, which I am doing, believe it or not. I'm getting it to the point where I know I need it before I screw it up again, like I did yesterday. But someone else might be having difficulties on a project, and seeing someone work through their problems might help them go, you know what, I need to take a step back and just get some cheap material to work with, whatever medium you're working with. And I just didn't need to do it. I just need to figure it out. And that if me doing this helps someone else do that, and then it's a big deal, you know, I've successfully helped someone. Yay. So that's why I actually even did the stream today. And this is where I ran into the problem last time, because when I do it like this, and this is here, then it's in the way when I put the other piece around. I'll look at it again when I get around here, and then I can figure it out. I know I can figure this out. Because I'm just trying to avoid having to do an edge all the way around. Well, I am usually on Mondays. During the weekdays, my streams are always going to be later in the day, 5:30 to 6, somewhere around there is usually when I'll start, and that's because I work a 9 to 5, and this is the only way I can manage to do that. Do the one that pays the bills and stream. Then Saturday and Sunday, I try to come on earlier in the day, a lot earlier in the day. Rosie made a comment about watching my stream can be like ASMR almost, just relaxing to watch. And it's like, well, if you're into watching people make stuff, sure. But then I've watched I've actually sat and watched people make stuff too, you know, watch people cook. Yes, yeah, I get it. Now I am wondering if at this point, if I need to do that and then start and see, this is sew the front, not the back. Absolutely, Francis. We should always be willing to help each other out. Ask away. You know, you have a lot of opinionated people in here. Oh, we'll give you the opinion whether you ask for it or not. This is what I was talking about. Yes. I think I figured it out now, by the way, if anyone cares. Let's stitch that part. Now, I think I figured it out. Because at this point, I can then not stab myself. If I'm Oh, I appreciate everybody who views my stuff and hangs out and chit chats, and whether they view it later or whatever, I don't care. I I appreciate people stopping by. That didn't work. Weirdo in space buns, huh? Thank you so much. I'll be here all week. Don't mind me. Oh yeah, that's what I was doing. I was talking about my schedule. CADHD. No, I did that already. I did my schedule. ADHD. Tip your waitress at the door. I always tip. Yeah, Monday when you look at the people that I hang with, the Get Swamped crew, um, Lisa and Kendra, two Lees in a pod, are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Rosie's Random Treasure is on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. Robbie is on Friday. That left Monday with a big hole. I was more than happy to fill it. I'm like, Monday is mine. I shall take the Monday. Not a problem. I think other people also come on. I think Stacy comes on Mondays as well. And so I try my best to minimize my impact on stepping on other people's toes. Most people don't do what I'm doing on here that I know. Every with the exception of the main topic of or big topic of conversation for Emma and most of the people I have met face to face, and that is one I have met face to face. Most of the people I have met face to face from the Get Swamped crew are who they seem to be. It's like you see Lisa on her live, you hear Lisa talk on her live. You know what? When I stayed at Lisa's house in December, that was how Lisa was. It didn't change. You see how crazy Robbie can act on screen sometimes? Yeah, that's Robbie. Yeah, that's Robbie. It's not fake. It's not, ooh, look, the cam's on, so let's act a certain way. That's not the way it is. I'm pretty sure Kendra is probably exactly the way she appears. Kendra lives like on the other side of the United States from me, so I haven't met Kendra in real life. But I have met a few, and they are exactly the way they appear. And that's one of the reasons why I keep going back. When I went down there the first time, I went down there knowing that there was a possibility I would wind up staying in a hotel and not see anybody, because is Robbie really the person I think he is? Or, is he some kind of crazy man? I didn't know, but I do know I just sewed this on absolutely on the wrong side. Or didn't sew it, but I pinned it to the wrong side. And that's why we're doing this. I mean, we have our drama. We do have drama with some people. That is true. But that's not, that's not the goal, I guess I should say. We don't want to be focused on people that have that drama. We like to focus on the people without the drama. Oh, my hand is hurting me today. My Lord, it's 8 o'clock and almost 9 o'clock. Might have to pick this up later. Tomorrow. Trying to pin this so I can test it without having to stitch it now. I got all the other pieces stitched together. I'm thinking if I do this way, it'll work. I just need to decide which side is going to be front and which way it's going to crisscross in the front. Is it going to go left over right or right over left? And I need to work that part out first. That old computer term, I tell people I'm WYSIWYG. That was an old computer term for what you see is what you get. And obviously I don't show my face on cam much because, well, my cam's not what's important. My face isn't what's important. What I'm doing on the table is. So no reason to show my face. So I don't need to put on makeup and fix my hair, and my hair's tied in a knot when I'm on here. Yeah, they seem really nice. They seem like genuinely nice people. So I'm thinking if that, goes this way. I need to fix this back piece before it rips out. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are just they are who they are, and then there's those that make you that there's those that I have met that I knew that a lot of what they're saying was BS from the beginning. And it was at that time kind of harmless. It wasn't going to impact anyone. So it was like, take it with a grain of salt, probably a lot of BS. And then the lies grew, and then promises started getting made that could not be fulfilled. Then it started impacting other people. So then those lies became not as little anymore. And you started adding up the lies, and it was a culmination of lies. And the part that did it for me was the lies about the death of children, because that is a hard topic for me, because I have buried one. No, you cannot Google me and find me under Tori Jones to find out that I've buried a child. But if anyone questions it, I can give them the right information, or they can verify verify what I say. I can verify. I can verify everything I say. But which reminds me, I probably should get a duplicate death certificate since I don't have mine anymore for that. But anyway, but I have buried a child. So that's a very sensitive topic for me. And when you lie about the death of children, yeah, you hit a hard ball there. That's not something that's just going to blow over anymore. So then everything that you said that should have been serious, I start to question. And that's exactly what happened. And they didn't never have come after me the way they have other people. Okay. Francis just popped in. Let me see what my grandson, he has autism. He's talking to a little African American boy today, and the little boy asked him if he had lived in the 1800s. See, when I was growing up and someone asked that, I would tell them, no, we were a poor family. Or he could just, if that guy, the other child is his friend, he can just look at his child and go, aren't we lucky that we're born, that we weren't born then, because I enjoy you as a friend. And I can't imagine my life around you being any different. You're my friend. Or something on that line of kind of, saying, we can't live in the past. Because the reality is nobody can truly answer that question. I mean, other, like, we were a poor family. We didn't have money. So yeah, for us. Wait a minute. The teacher suspended your grandson for 3 days. No. That's like saying, having someone at school who's a vegetarian and someone that, because they grew up in a family of vegetarians, and someone else that's not a vegetarian saying, if you didn't have the same parents, would you eat meat? And the child goes, yes. Should they get punished for that from their parents because they said they would eat meat had they not been born into a family of vegetarians? It's the nature of the times. I mean, I can say that, like, with my family, being who my family is, we would not, because we didn't have the money to. But had I lived then in a rich family, could it have happened? Yeah, it could have happened, because we are a product of the times. I'm blessed to have grown up when I did. Yeah. Yeah, that's but did the other child have a problem with his answer? That's another question. Elementary school. Yeah. Okay. The teacher failed at an absolutely amazing opportunity to educate what that means and what kind of impact it would have been on other people. So yeah, teacher overreacted. Absolutely. And if the other child that asked the question did not have a problem with the answer, the teacher should have left it alone and stayed out of it. Because I don't think someone answering a question like that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if it was the topic that was the reason for suspension, then yes, the one who brought up the topic should have been suspended as well. And so now I'm to this point, and I don't see any way to do this and not end up in the same place I was the other day. Ouch. Yeah, that just seems kind of, yeah, over the top. Like, really? You suspended a child for answering the question of another student. I understand race is an extremely hot topic, depending on where you live, especially. But giving what you think is an honest answer to a question, maybe I don't know your ancestry, so maybe he knows that his ancestors did, and so he gave the answer, yeah, I guess I would because my family did. Or maybe he is under the impression that all people of white skins owned slaves, so therefore, because he has white skin, he would have. So you're looking at the mind of a young child, and without asking the questions and getting the information from the children of what was the intent of the conversation, the teacher jumped the gun and is like, you're out of here. That's wrong. They have failed the children in the educational field in that. Yeah, it would have been a great opportunity for education. Absolutely. For one, asking one child, why did you ask the question? What's your reason for asking the question? Was he trying to see where the mindset of his friend was, or what? And then the other one is, why did you answer it that way? Do you understand what that means? Kind of like you could, gosh, teacher failed. There could have been more conversation to come between those children of the one child saying, why would you want to? And, the teacher just cut off a conversation before it had time to finish between these children. Failure, teacher failure. Okay, if I do this, I stitch it like that, then I come to here. It has to be under here. And I snip this one. And go ahead and roll that edge. Then put this one and roll it over again. That would work. Yes. Okay, now I am going to hand stitch this just because I have to see if it's going to work. And I can't do that with these needles in here because I'm going to poke myself. It is going to hurt real bad. To do that though, I need to sew this one, then sew this one. Yes. Yeah. DM, I am right with you. Wow. I would actually go to the school board and say, that your teacher failed at the great opportunity to help educate children about slavery and race and racism and what happened back in those days, coming up on the end of Black History Month. So yeah, teacher failed and overreacted. I mean, just having the information that you've given. Did the other child scream and complain? Because that's the biggest thing, was like, what was the motivation? Is it because she just heard the conversation? Absolutely, DMS. Come back anytime. Tomorrow I'll probably be on between around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I will log off about 15 to 30 minutes before Two Leaves in a Pod comes on, because that's what I do on Tuesdays. I will actually set up my stream schedule for the week later today, when I close out this one. But so come back and see me sometime later. But yeah, um, I'm just perplexed that a teacher would react that way to a conversation between children. You know, the other child, if the other child had not complained or anything like that, then if nobody's complaining about the conversation, then why is the teacher butting her nose into it? That's my opinion. That's the way I see it, that the teacher should not have intervened unless there was a true problem that needed to be intervened upon. And the boys are friends. So yeah. And that might be the one child was trying to explore what would that have looked like in those days. He was trying to figure it out. And get to have interrupted that. It was a failure on the teacher's part. I'm not speechless too often, but this just has me, really. So basically, two children were having a conversation with each other in a non-violent manner, and a teacher eavesdropped on their conversation and took action when nobody had a problem with the conversation, except him, the teacher. Wow. Wow. And like I said, I find that that's a failure on the teacher's part, because these children were figuring things out. And, the one boy might have, I do the might have. The one little boy after your grandson said, yes, the other little boy might have come back and goes, but then we couldn't have been friends. And, your grandson come back and go, wow, then no, I wouldn't want that. There's a whole thing there that could have happened that didn't, because the teacher intervened. And that's a failure on the teacher's part. Absolutely. I have been on for 3 hours, and so I'm going to wind up ending the stream. What I'm going to do when I'm off stream is I am going to just hand stitch around here. I'm going to hand stitch this piece down. Then I'm going to come back and hand stitch this one down, and I'm going to flip this piece. When I do that, I'm going to go ahead and flip this piece now and stitch it and rehand stitch over this, and see what I need to do to make it where I can roll this edge correctly and make it look good. Or if I'm just going to have to sew it all together and then still put another piece on there, because that might be an option too. If this still doesn't look right, let me pull up one of these scraps I just cut off of here. The other option is, when I do this, is to sew it all like this and sew another piece on here, so that when I turn it, I can just turn it all the way in. But that would make me have to stitch. Oh, wait. And then I could flip this down and stitch in here, and it wouldn't show up on the outside. That, I think, would be the best way to do it. Yeah, we were indentured servant types. We were poor people. Our family were more like the indentured servants, the white people who still worked in the house for the slave owners, for the southern plantations and stuff, because we just had no money. And then that's what I'm going to do. I figured it out. Figured it out. Figured it out. Figured it out. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I need to write myself some notes. So I am going to log off of here. And then I'm going to compose my notes on this. And I'll continue hand stitching this just to make sure that it works right. I do need to cut myself a strip to put on here. But I think I know what I have to do now. So that means that you guys have helped me solve my problem. And I appreciate it greatly. Yeah, tell your grandson to keep his head up, keep his friend close. Maybe the best your family can do is take the opportunity to talk to him about what owning slaves look like to the best of your ability, with the material that you can find, and make him understand what that meant. And that might, do what the teacher should have done, basically. It doesn't help the other child who asked the question, but it does help your grandchild. If the children see each other outside of school, I know that's not always the case, then they hopefully will have the opportunity to further their discussion without interruptions from a teacher. Because that's definitely a failure on the teacher's part. If this child was 17 years old, that would be a different thing, because he has the education to know better. That he would have the education to know how that would affect others to say that. Because by then you know what owning a slave meant. You've seen stuff, you've heard stuff. More than likely you've watched a documentary or watched a movie about it that has that in it. And so you learn the difference. And so, it would be easy to say, no, I wouldn't. I would like to say, regardless of how much money I had, I would not have owned anybody. But I'm not living in the 1800s with lots of money, so I don't know. None of us can truly answer that question. Living in the family I lived in, that I grew up in, and knowing the history of our family, no, because we didn't have any money. Like I said, we didn't have money to buy anybody. So no, we wouldn't have had any. So yeah, there you go. But it was overwhelming response, Francis, that absolutely the teacher just blew her top over nothing. She was wrong. And I would ask, where is it in the handbook that says that children can't have this conversation that warranted kicking my grandchild out of school? I would absolutely question that. Yeah. Kids were just talking. They were being kids. And more than likely, the one child has heard conversations, because, it is February, it is Black History Month, so there are conversations that go on, and probably overheard some conversation somewhere, and that sparked his interest to ask the questions. Innocent children. They figure it out. And all the teacher did was teach your grandchild that this isn't even a topic you can talk about. And that's wrong. it is a topic that can be talked about. It's a topic that should be talked about. And, the teacher just, you can't talk about it or you get in trouble. That's what she taught him. And that's wrong. Yeah. Jennifer, you have broken every mold the family set for you. You are nothing like your biological family. Nothing. Just from what you've told me, you are nothing like your biological family. And that's a good thing. Because I don't think I would have liked your biological family at all. So, but I am going to get off of here so I can do some stuff before I need to go to sleep. I need to dump my brain, for one. I figured some stuff out here, and I need to get it out in writing on paper. Well, in a notepad on the computer. But I need to get it out so that when I go to lay it all out again, I do it different. When I glue the second layer under it, I'm going to only glue it to here so that I can cut back the seam allowance on that blue layer when I put it all together. And actually, with it being, I actually might not put blue on both of these. I didn't. I used all white. If I'm not mistaken. It's just 2 layers of white. It is. It's just 2 layers of white. Never mind. So it's actually the part underneath it. The main hat part. I need to cut that blue back a little bit before I start sewing everything together. So there you go. Thank you, everybody, for coming in and sitting with me and helping me work through this process. I have an answer. I'm going to write my stuff together so that I can process this through my brain. I will actually store my file with the pattern because I don't make these that often. And that way I have my notes to refer back to if it takes me another 2 or 3 years before I ever touch this pattern again. So I appreciate everybody being here and helping me with this and helping me through this process. I genuinely appreciate it. And I will talk to everybody again. Again, tomorrow I will probably be on between 5:30 and 6. Depends how my work day goes. I'll plan for 5:30. But if my work day runs over a little bit, I will change it to 6. And I hope to see you come back and see where I go. I will possibly continue to work on this to run through the process completely. And that way I can show it tomorrow. I'll probably pull out some stuff for some keychains, some smaller items to make. I think I might make up some keychains and send them to Robbie to throw in his giveaways. Just a little something, something. Maybe I'll use up some of this blue and white leather making some keychains to for him because it's sewn together already and I'm redoing it. So I have pieces that are sewn together and they're big enough to make keychains out of. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I will talk to everybody later, tomorrow and Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. And possibly within the next few days, I'll be back on making Garrison caps again with the actual leather I'm going to be making it out of. So I appreciate you all. You all have a blessed night. Be kind to yourself and to others. Be safe in this crazy world when you must go out into it. And remember, you can accomplish anything you put your mind to if you're willing to do the work. Have a wonderful evening or rest of your day, no matter where in the world you are. Good night.